Chapter 3 The Giant and His Garden. Once upon a time there lived a giant who had a beautiful garden. One day the giant came home to find a group of children playing in his garden. He was so annoyed that he built a wall around the garden to prevent the children from entering the garden. He put a notice that said, "Trespassers would be prosecuted." When spring came and the flowers started to bloom everywhere, there were no flowers in the giant's garden. The reason was that when a flower blooms, it sinks into the earth when it sees the sign that the giant had put up. Snow, frost, wind, and rain stayed away from the garden. One morning the giant heard a linnet singing near his window. When he looked out, he was shocked to see that there were flowers in his garden and some children were playing. They had entered the garden through a hole in the wall. He saw a little boy standing and crying under a tree as he could not reach the lower branches. The corner of his garden where the boy was standing was still covered in snow. The giant was ashamed and realized his selfishness. The kids, on seeing the giant, fled and winter returned. He lifted the crying boy and placed him on a tree and told the children outside that the garden was theirs. Next day the children returned and the garden had changed, but the crying boy had disappeared. Over the years, the giant grew old and watched the children play from his armchair. One day he saw the little boy under the same tree. The giant approached the boy who had injuries on his hands and feet. He asked the boy who had hurt him so that the giant could punish them. The child told the giant that they were wounds of love, and as the giant had allowed him to play in the garden, the boy would take the giant to his garden paradise. Later on, the other kids found the giant lying dead under a tree covered in blossoms.